I'm going to be recording. I'll be recording it so you can revisit the meditation anytime you want, and kind of redo it in your own time as well. So I will try and keep it quite short, because then we'll be moving into our year ahead. And this is where the real power lies. And what I would like us to do is, when we move into looking into the year ahead, I think it's really important that we do so not from like a victim mentality or what's going to happen to us mentality, but rather, what can we provoke? What can we bring forward? What can we sit with? Where is our power next year? So that even if the cards feel a little bit off, or perhaps even borderline negative, we can use that as a jumping off point, as a catalyst, as a place of growth, and personal change that we can be aware of as we move into it next year. So there's no kind of negative prediction coming through for this. It's more like, okay, so these are my themes for the year. How am I going to make the absolute most of them? How am I going to grow as a person? How am I going to tackle the more difficult, sticky ones? And how am I going to sit in power with the positive cards? Because, you know, sometimes the positive cards can be challenging too when we're actually living through them. But it'll give us something to work with as we move through the year. So I have two of my decks here. Cosmic Mother, no, not Cosmic, Rebel Heart Tarot, which is the most latest one, and I've got Cosmic Mother here.
I've just been down there doing it the whole time. I did one for Helena. She got two of the same cards as yours.
Oh, hello.
The lady in the waterfall with the teacup and the chariot. Did you understand that?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm not sure who's talking, but I'm just gonna mute. So yeah, so we're going to be working through those two decks. I'll just take whatever card feels right for each month. And if you have decks with you, then I would suggest you take your own decks, your own cards too, along with me. So the cards that I will be taking will be for the collective, and perhaps for the people who are here. And that people are drawn to each other. I always find whenever I'm working with a group, the people who are in that space are there because there are similarities. We don't have to figure out exactly what they are today, but doubtless there will be themes through all of our lives that are kind of running through. So the collective cards will hopefully have meanings to each and every one of you, but you can also take your own personal cards. You can use your tarot card, your oracle cards, your angel cards, whatever you happen to have to kind of pad out the story for next year is very, very welcome. So before we begin, does anyone have any questions? No? We're all good? Well, the chat is open. If anybody ever wants to type anything in there, then you're welcome. I'm just going to apologize for my dog, who has been asleep all day and has decided, as ever, when I start doing tarot, to start whimpering and scratching at the door. He's right there with me. He's looking at my children and wanting to be with them. Anyway, what I'm going to do is we'll begin the meditation momentarily. So some of you may feel more comfortable to do that with your screens on black, which is absolutely fine. It can help you feel perhaps that you're more within that private space. Okay. So just beginning, as I always do with the Cosmic Sisterhood, which I'm going to just post a link to in the chat box, because we are starting the Cosmic Sisterhood again tomorrow with a much cheaper price of £12.50 if anybody wants to join. But this is how we begin our meetings and our sessions. It's just by very simply taking 3 lovely deep breaths. And it's amazing what 3 lovely deep breaths can bring you away from and bring you into. So we're going to do in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just imagine dropping deeper into you, into whatever it is that wants to bubble up for you, and just kind of letting the day go away, letting any events drop away. So in your own time. It may be that after you've taken your 3 breaths, that you want to continue with a few more deeper breaths. I often find that 3 breaths leads to 6 to 7, just as many as you need, listening to the sound of my voice. Just beginning to open up to this moment, this particular choice you've made to be in this space on this important day as we close 1 year, moving gently, gently into the next. Just taking a moment to release any energy that's within you. You might even want to shake it out a little bit, kind of have a wiggle. You might want to pull your hands down over your body as if you're like removing any attachments, removing anything that's stuck to you that you're no longer interested in carrying, any illness, any sickness, any conflict. And just breathing out, just beginning to cleanse your energy space. Just breathing it out, pushing it away, trusting that as you flick it away with your hands or wiggle it away, that it's being taken by the divine, shifted out of your energetic being, so that you can really focus during this session on who you are, who you're becoming, and where you want to go. So whenever you feel like you've kind of shifted enough of that energy, and then you may find that there's one spot that you're kind of stuck with, pulling at, kind of maybe there's a little bit more of heaviness or something there that you're just pulling away, just trusting that you're creating more fertile, open space for growth as you just get rid of perhaps like a whole year's worth of energetic gunk. It's quite healing, quite energizing, creating almost like a flatbed of soil full of compost, but free from the weeds. Imagine this as kind of energetic weeding, just flipping it away from your heart, your mind, your womb, your physicality. Oh, breathing it. Continue doing that for as long as you need to. Whenever you feel like that's enough, the energy's settled, just taking another breath, just to drop down that little bit further into yourself to create an opening within yourself, an opening of insight, because that's what today is going to be about. It's allowing us insight into who we are now and who we are becoming, free from the shackles of circumstances within our life, whether that is other people, events that cannot be controlled, work. What we're doing here is creating space to plant some seeds for ourselves, for our personal growth, for our well-being, for our self-love. When you're feeling nice and clear, I want you to imagine yourself being engulfed by a light. So it might be that your light is the sun, or your light might be the moon, or your light might be a star, or it might be a big cosmic egg full of wisdom. But I always like to think of the good witch from The Wizard of Oz in her pink bubble, imagining that you are having a light, a bubble of light that is forming all around you. And it's protective, and it's empowering, and it allows for interesting expansions and understandings. And just breathing into this light, taking a moment to notice the color of the light, because everybody's might be different. For some of you, it might be gold, it might be green, it might be pink, it might be rainbow, it might be silver, it may be a whole spectrum of different colors coming and going. And this energy seems to infiltrate yourself, perhaps infiltrating your breath. So you're breathing it in and breathing it out, allowing it to move around your body in deeply empowering ways. Trusting that this light is healing and that it will spark understandings and growth. And we don't need to know exactly what that is or how that looks or how it will show up today or at any other point. But just allowing this light to be around us and to be within us. Feeling really safe, really held, really empowered. Knowing that this light is some form of cosmic source. It's where we come from and it's where we go to. There's some deep elemental truth about it that feels womb-like, that feels cosmic, that feels celestial. Breathing it in, feeling it rippling from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, down your fingertips, into your guts, into your stomach, into your womb, through your chakras and around the energy of your aura. And feeling really safe. And trusting that this light has its way. It has its way of bringing you back into power, whilst at the same time, sorry about that, at the same time, rippling out past any pain, removing things that are no longer serving, shifting toxicity within you without you having to fully understand where that toxic energy resides or where it comes from, just trusting that the light is finding the difficulties within and beginning to elevate them, remove them, whilst intensifying your self-understanding, your self-worth and your self-love. And just breathing into this now for a few moments. Allowing the energy to swirl around, perhaps in your gut, in your stomach, in your womb, whichever space feels powerful for you, allowing it to build. And as it builds, it returns you to yourself, shifting past the pains that other people have planted within you, the expectations that have led you astray from yourself over the past year, and moving you more deeply into you, into who you are becoming, into a full understanding and expression of that in your everyday. And recognizing that this energy is connecting you to the cosmic and yet also to the earth. So wherever you may have lost those connections and become consumed with day-to-day events, other people's energies, events that have befallen you, wherever you have lost that connection to nature or to the celestial, to the divine, those channels are being reopened so that you can step into 2023 with a closer alignment to these divine forces that guide you, that steer you, that offer you signs, that offer you insightful knowledge and knowing, that offer you intuitions. So stripping away anything that is standing in the way of those great and divine personal understandings that we can encounter every day. So allowing the light to infiltrate, to be breathed in, to absorb in through your skin. And then releasing it outwards. And as you sit in this space, I want you to take a moment just to think about, in particular, what you want to release from 2022. There's no right way of doing this. It's just a matter of engaging with it in your mind's eye. So just thinking about those things that have not served you, or that you are done with, or that you do not wish to carry through. And offering them to the light almost as words, as symbols, and sending them out of your body. Trusting that just by identifying them, that you're releasing them. You don't need to think about them in depth. You can just name them in your head and then let them go. Name them in your head and let them go. You might imagine sending them out into a cosmic violet flame. Perhaps a candle appears before you and you can just send those toxic thoughts, those things that have served you but no longer serve you, those difficulties, sending them out to the flame and letting them be transmuted and burnt up and shifted and changed, making space for growth, making space for new understandings and for a more balanced life as you move forward. You're just pushing those last thoughts out or repeating the same ones, anything that's really heavy upon you, just sending it over and over and over again into the violet flame and watching it being eviscerated, being taken away. And feeling yourself lighter and more whole, having created space for new experiences, new learnings, new adventures, new conscious doings, new purposefulness as you move into the year ahead. And now we're going to take a moment to just think about what is it we really want to experience as we move into 2023. It could be more of some of the stuff you've already experienced, or it could be new things, things that you haven't made time for, things that you have felt are not yours for experiencing. Let's put our deepest, wildest desires out into the universe You might want to put a hand over your heart and a hand over your womb space to really catalyze this growth, to connect with your inner divine feminine, the ability to conjure and create even through the most difficult of times, even through the most darkest inner circumstances. We're constantly in a state of whirling creation. And so just for this moment, we're going to capture some of that creation, and we're going to call upon that creative energy, and we're going to ask in our mind for those things that we deeply desire, and do not hold back. Do not hold back. Think about the absolute depths of your desires. And you don't need to be completely specific, but just give the universe the generalities. Maybe you want love, maybe you want success, maybe you want abundance, maybe you want power. And maybe there are some more specific things that are really entirely unique to you. Don't be afraid to do that, to put those particular words out. Just taking a moment now. I want you to imagine that each word is a seed, and that you're planting it into the soil that has been nurtured by the ashes of all the pain and all the things that you have released and all the lessons that you've learned in 2022. We've created compost, we've created growth, and that growth is a poignant, powerful place to plant your seeds. So imagine putting each and every seed of everything you desire into the earth, whether it comes about in the coming year or 5 years from now. You're planting that seed in a way that is meaningful and that is true, and on a powerful day. So I'll give you a few moments just to really think about those desires, and imagine yourself just on your hands and knees with your fingers in the dirt, with all this beautiful cosmic light surrounding you and supporting you, and just trusting that these seeds can grow and that they will grow. And as you plant each seed, you might want to imagine yourself sending love down to it, maybe even placing your forehead on the soil as you honor the growth that will come. And trust that all you need to do is continue to hold these ideas, these hopes, these ambitions and desires within your heart, and to nurture them and to water them and to bring them to mind every so often. Imagine now waving your hands over your buried seeds. Imagine golden raindrops falling from your hands, your hard work, your sweat, your toil as you live this life is what is going to feed these little seedlings. So imagine golden light dripping from your fingertips into the soil, powering them up, giving them an amazing head start. Blood, sweat, and tears leading the way, divinely energizing these little seeds so that beneath the soil they're starting to crack open already and create little roots, trusting that they will all come about in the right time that is most powerful for you and that harms no one. And then I want you to imagine that golden light that's shimmering out of your fingertips, and I want you to water yourself with it. So literally moving your hands all over your body, just gently pitter-pattering, cleansing yourself, treating yourself like a seed, forgiving yourself for anything that you are holding yourself accountable for, just starting afresh, cleansing, clearing, energizing, releasing anything that you're holding on to that's still there, just letting it go, like a little loving offering to who you are, to the potential, to the depths, to the strengths, the things that you've overcome and that you will continue to overcome. It's raining down this golden light all upon yourself. Breathing in the light that surrounds you, trusting that you can be with it at any moment. And that this space is one you can return to anytime to water your seeds or to connect to your own depths. So moving away from this space now, recognizing that we've done all our work here. We've sent our desires out into the etheric cosmic space. We've released some stuff that's perhaps been dogging us. And we're all ready to start thinking about the future, thinking about the year ahead. So placing your feet really firmly on the floor, I want you to imagine that you're grounding back down into your reality. You might want to give yourself a big firm hug, feeling into your solidity, into your truth, into your groundedness. Taking a gorgeous big deep breath. Kind of bringing your awareness back to the space that you're in, to this moment, to this little workshop. Taking a lovely breath, and then whenever you're ready, returning to the room, opening your eyes, and just coming back. Hey everybody, I hope that was nice. I do apologize for the big loud clattering noise. That was my dog. So hopefully people will have got something from that, releasing things, thinking forward to the future. And I will send out this recording to everybody as well, so it's something that you can repeat. I know some of you are in my Cosmic Sisterhood, but for those who aren't, I've put a link in. You don't have to do anything about it now, but this is the kind of work that we are going to be doing in there over the coming year. We're having a renewal of the Cosmic Sisterhood starting tomorrow with a much cheaper price and kind of some magic tarot going forward. So if you're enjoying this, then that would be an interesting move to make, to come join us there. Becky is saying your dog has joined me too. Well, I have to admit that I put myself on mute and went and removed my dog from the room. What time is it tomorrow? It's going to be recorded videos for the most part, Hazel, with daily videos, with a once monthly live session, which has yet to be arranged for January. But the videos will start tomorrow, doing lots of tarot and kind of moving forward with whatever's going on in the ethers, the atmosphere, the moon, astrology, the general world that we're in, nature in particular, and signs. The signs of nature I'm really keen on kind of exploring. Okay, so let's begin our journey through 2023. So what I would recommend you do is, if you have a calendar or a diary, is just put your cards directly in there. So you can do January and then write your card. The nice thing about this is there's only so much information I'm going to be able to impart within an hour, but you can continue to explore it all year. So, you'll get to, I don't know, June, July, and you'll look at what your card is, and it will be there hopefully in your diary or your calendar, and then you can research it a little bit more or think on it a little bit more, or you know, kind of have that discussion with yourself throughout the month. Like, what is this card? How does this sit with me right now? How is it reflecting the events of my life? Which I think is a fascinating piece of work to do. And it also will help you get to know your cards more deeply, which I always think is, you know, getting to know the cards through our own experiences makes our understandings of them so unique. So everybody here is, like, say, I'll choose the card for November. Everybody's going to have a completely unique experience of that month. But that doesn't make anybody's experience wrong. In fact, it probably makes them more right, but just individually. And the more we empower ourselves to our individual experiences of that card, of that piece of spirituality, the more, I guess, connected we become to ourselves and to our own experience of the divine. So that is what I would recommend you to do, you know, and you can, of course, you know, go away and look up each card online or look at my various books or whatever it is that you choose to do. But I would absolutely ask you to honor your own experience as you move through the year and really get to know the cards through what happens to you. That's what I've always done. And it's incredibly insightful and interesting. Okay, so let's crack on, because I could talk about how wonderful tarot is all day, but I won't. So we'll start with January. No, we won't. We're going to start with a card for the year. So this card, I'm going to pull a card for our community theme. So where is this year taking us? What is the theme of this year? And what do we need to know? And you all take your own individual cards. So then you can write it down in your calendar, my card as well as your own as well. So give them a good shuffle using Rebel Heart Tarot, which as many of you will know is the new deck that just came out this month. We have the artist here with us, Nikki. We have my wonderful agent, Kizzy, here. So all the mothers of this deck are here, which is fabulous. Oh, you've got one, brilliant. Right, so it'll be interesting to see if people get sort of similar cards. So community theme. Oh, okay. All right then, okay. We have the lovers. Okay, so our theme for the lovers, I think this is about how to be in unity with other people in ways that are healthy and connected and loving, but that are not consuming, codependent, and exhausting. It's that kind of, I mean, whether we are in relationships or not, I don't think it really matters. It's how we are in unity with others, how we work with others, how we work in collaborations, how we get on with our workmates and our friends and our family. How can we do all of that from a place of empathy and compassion and essentially love, and tolerance sometimes of other people. Yeah, I feel like the lovers seems, I think it's the kind of card that people really want to get. It's actually hugely challenging because it means dealing intimately with other people. So as a theme for the year, there's a real bounty to it in that our communications and our connections with other humans are going to be really in focus. But that can be kind of as gorgeous as it is grueling. Excuse me. Well, I would say because it's the theme for the year, the aim is really to have good communications, good relationships, good, you know, kind of lovers, good marriages, good partnerships, and to find ways to sing from the same microphone. And this card, when it was designed, I was actually quite inspired. I mean, Nikki obviously did the art for it, but I was quite inspired by, there's a video by Bob Dylan and Joan Baez, which you might be able to look up and find. And it's just beautiful. It's just them on a stage together singing It Ain't You, It Ain't Me, Babe. and they just have this beautiful white light shining on them, and it's just black and white. Just, I would recommend go watching it. It's just, there's something about it that inspired this card for me, and just Nikki brought it to life in really beautiful ways. But then when you look into the history of their relationship, it was quite turbulent, and at the same time, so much love. And I guess that's the lovers, is finding a way through that turbulence, whether it's in your personal, intimate relationships, or whether it's in all relationships with everyone that you come into any kind of encounter with. So I think we're looking at finding the love this year, finding the love within those connections. So that's our theme. So if you want to share your individual cards in the chat as well, I think that will be quite interesting for us all to see. So that's the theme, and then we'll move to January. It'll be quite interesting. So, like, for example, Becky got the moon as a personal card, and the lovers as, say, the community card. So the way I can't obviously do this for every card, but the moon is very much about that with the community ones. Okay, so moving into January, which is tomorrow, we have the Knight of Pentacles. That's very much like back to work kind of vibes. Back to work, on a mission. This is for those who are intrigued by the Rebel Heart Tarot. That's my husband with a koala head on in his little studio, which is just through there, holding my daughter's guitar and a drill in the other hand. It's finding your passion and beginning to explore it, perhaps trying to balance out everything. I think that's quite interesting that in one hand he has a guitar and in the other hand he has a drill. It's like that balance of the different things we have to do to make life work. The mission that we might find ourselves on, to work in a way that feels more like life purpose than just practicality. But also having to deal with the practicality and the domestic stuff and the never-ending doing. So I think for January, this really does feel like kind of juggling, doing everything, but also feeling like we're on a bit of a mission. So it might be that quite quickly we find ourselves back into life, into work, into starting to make our life purpose work for us so that we can feel contented within what we do. So maybe that's a thing, because it's coming in January as well, is how can we make our lives more aligned with our truth this year, is what I would say this Knight of Pentacles is about. And some of that involves seriously hard work, kind of commitment and new personal understandings. So there we go. Hi, Nikki. Nikki is wearing our gorgeous Queen of Wands. Thank you. Isn't that good? For anyone who doesn't know, Nikki is the artist of these cards. So, the genius. Right. So, again, think about your personal cards and how they correlate with the community cards. And again, continue to think about it throughout the year. Got some quite powerful cards. We've got Pages of Wands, 10 of Wands. Samantha, go easy on yourself, love. Let's see. Temperance for January, just let things play out as they need to. 3 of Pentacles. Trust in the work that's quite a worky card, and getting the balance right, and trust you're building something bigger. The Magician, putting yourself into a place of magical creation. Ace of Pentacles, new financial beginning. 4 of Pentacles, being careful with money. 8 of Swords, a bit challenging, Nikki, feeling like you're on the edge of eekiness. But I think that, you know, they're all quite interesting cards, and as the January cards, they're definitely going to be kind of what's leading us into the rest of the year. So as we go into February, using Rebel Heart again here, we have, oh, that's a bit brighter. We have the World. So the other thing, of course, is to keep, when you're comparing and contrasting your cards, your personal cards with the community cards, is also to keep referencing that community theme as well. So the theme for the year, the lovers, is to keep bringing that back into each kind of connection, and just beginning to look at those sort of three cards in togetherness. Like, okay, what was my card? What was the community card? What's the theme for the whole year? And how do these sit, and how do they change throughout the year? And it's a bit of a mission, you know, especially if you're new to tarot, but it will really get you kind of used to playing with them and using them and kind of finding the stories within them. Because that's what I always say when I'm teaching tarot, is what is the story that is being told to you at any given moment, and how does it shift, you know, like a storyboard. You know, if you were to look at a comic book without maybe any words on it, how does the story progress and change? So that's just one way to kind of look at it. So for February, we have the World. Nikki's got the King of Cups. Caroline's got Ace of Cups, Seven of Swords. So again, all quite unique and different. I don't know what that is that you're holding up, Hazel, but he looks like an interesting character. Oh, Tower, oh dear. You know, the Tower is just creating space for growth. That's what I always find. It can be painful to sit through, but it's creating space. But we have the World as our leading community card, and this is about perhaps whatever's going on for us this month, whatever your individual cards are, is how are they enabling you to see the world differently, to have a bigger picture, to recognize your own power and to grow within that. So that is gorgeous, deer-headed lady. It's a lady called Kerry Wilde, who's a soul stylist. She's magnificent. Go check her out. All about sustainability, which is kind of appropriate for the world right now. Fashion sustainability, as well as kind of that inner expression of feminine divine. So it's quite interesting how the people posing within the cards also have sort of added to the meaning. Okay. So then moving into March. Oh, we've been joined by a little person, Poppy. Oh, cute. Okay, so for March we have, oh, this is me. It's the Nine of Wands. I love this card, not least because it's me, but it kind of, if anybody's familiar with the Cosmic Mother deck, Nikki kind of took inspiration from that to create this one. I'm trying to find it now, but I'm probably not going to be able to. But basically the kind of idea of moving forward to your next step, and you don't really know where that's going to take you, but you're doing it nonetheless. And she's kind of got these balloons, which to me are like this divine support, helps you to feel really empowered towards that next step. Did we just freeze for a second then? Okay, I'll just go back over what I was saying. So the Nine of Wands is really about taking the step even before we feel ready to do so, and trusting that we will be met by creativity, by our own capabilities, by our own resilience, and that we are being guided by some kind of supporting divine force that always steps in and helps us, you know, even in the most dire situation. So the Nine of Wands is this creative momentum forward. And it feels quite joyful, actually. Quite a nice card, particularly as we have spring coming. Nikki's got Eight of Cups. That's the momentum forward again. Kind of good momentum card. really, which I love. Spring is that sort of time of you want to get out, you want to be doing things, you want to be putting plans in place and trusting them, stepping out into them. So fantastic. Okay, so moving on to April. Okay, we're going for April now. Oh, 9 of Wands doesn't want to go back in properly. Hang on. Oh, I'm losing my marbles here. I'm shuffling this and thinking, why is this card too big for the deck? It's because the Cosmic Mother want me to use them now. Okay, right. So, Nikki, feels like we're going to be off on adventures. Yeah, I feel like this year, from the various readings I've done for people, I feel like 2023 is going to be a year of potential adventures for many of us, whether that's actual adventures or adventures in personal expression and becoming more of ourselves. There's definitely going to be some shifts and changes. So for April, we have the 5 of Cups here. Perhaps all of that great energy the month before has led us into a place of exhaustion. We can't quite see the woods for the trees. We're feeling a little bit tired and a little bit lost, because the 5 of Cups is the kind of card where we're not fully in our power. We could be, but we're choosing not to be. So whatever your personal card is, contrast it with that and think about, okay, so this card is saying there's a potential that we might all be feeling a little bit in the doldrums, a little bit sorry for ourselves. And perhaps your personal card is giving a reason why, or giving, so for example, Nikki's got 6 of Wands. So that's a card of success, but maybe with this card contrasting with it, you can't quite see the success. You're not letting yourself see the success. You're doing the comparison thing. So just compare with your own personal card, and it might kind of give you a little bit of insight when April comes as to what it is that you could be seeing that's good in your life and what you're not choosing to see, or what is kind of drowning you a little bit so that you can't see the good stuff. And the 5 of Cups, it's not a great card, but there are worse. It's that kind of exhaustion, not really full of your power, but you could be, because there's these good things in your life if you choose to turn around and find them, which can be work. It can be work, but it's not impossible. Okay, so then we have May. So I'm going to do Cosmic Mother again. Ooh. It fell out, so I'm going to just get that. Oh, so for May, we have the 8 of Pentacles. I love this card. So this is back to our kind of worky experience of life and experience of who we are becoming in terms of our material world. And I do find when I work with women that for the most part, we want to know about our life purpose and what our work should be and who we are becoming and where our creativity sits. And when we get the 8 of Pentacles, it really speaks to finding some kind of alignment within our working life, or within our passions, within, the kind of day-to-day, because we can become quite far removed from what feels like passion or what feels like purpose. But when the 8 of Pentacles comes up, there is a potential there to really step into personal power, and to feel really aligned with the work that we're doing. So be interesting to see how that plays out in your various roles, your jobs, your work, your businesses, whatever you happen to be doing. There's definitely some alignment coming forward there. So let's have a look at other ones. That's quite. So Sue's got the Wheel of Fortune, so it may be looking at that kind of comparison. The Wheel of Fortune is this kind of chaotic spinning, but at the same time, perhaps leading to this kind of alignment. Nikki's got 6 of Pentacles, so the alignment leading to gifts, and gifts not just of finance and abundance, but also connection and collaboration and magic. Samantha has the Emperor. So the Emperor is perhaps taking that more patriarchal, well-worn route towards this kind of personal understanding and alignment with the work that you do. So it's just, again, trying to find the story between the cards. So, oh, Amanda has the 10 of Swords. That's all, you know, 10 of Swords scares people, but for me, it's the enlightenment, it's the path to enlightenment, it's what you'll no longer tolerate, and it's all the crap that's ever happened that when it happens, you feel like you're dead on the floor, but actually leads to this kind of place like, this is, I'm not going to tolerate any of this anymore. I'm ready for my life path and purpose. So the 10 of Swords, some of the darker cards for me are the most powerful. They don't feel nice at the time, but they get you places and they provide huge leaps of expansion in who we're becoming. So don't be afraid if you pull a card that's a bit irksome, because there's ways to understand it that can be really powerful. Okay, so moving into June, back to the Rebel Heart. And one of the other things you might want to do after you've done this is, if you have a more gentle deck, because tarot aren't always gentle, they don't pull their punches, they are like really ferocious. But if you say have a nice little oracle deck or an inspirational angel deck or something, maybe go pull a card for each month as well, with using that deck, just to kind of almost act as a balm for anything that might feel a little bit challenging from the tarot. Okay. Yes, Nikki, soften the blow. Give us something more to work with. And I love kind of combining tarot with oracle and astrology and nature signs from nature are always really powerful. So, you know, whenever you are looking at these cards as you move through the months, and then you're out and about and you notice a butterfly or a bird or a repeated message from, you know, the same butterfly over and over again, or just something draws your eyes, an acorn or a rainbow, just hold it, let it be part of the message, let it be part of the world speaking to you. Because I think once you start messing with tarot and spirituality, the world does speak to you. And this is one of the things I'm going to be exploring in the Cosmic Sisterhood, is that these signs and symbols don't just come from decks of cards or books that we read, they come from within the guts of our life. And you don't even need a deck, you just need to walk and observe and just listen to what song comes on the radio and just allow all of it to find expression through you. And the more I do it, the more it comes. And some people might think I'm completely balmy, but I'm kind of cool with that because it helps me. So this is where we are at for June, is the Two of Cups, which a little story behind this card is, that is me, that is Nikki, that's our dogs. I'm actually wearing my grand's jacket from the war. My grand just passed away like last week, about a week ago. She was 101 years old, bless her heart. So that feels quite meaningful to me, that her little energy has come through here. And that's the nice thing about these cards, they're so infused with our lives. But yeah, this is the Two of Cups. It kind of brings us back a little bit to the theme of the year, which was the Lovers. The Two of Cups is that same kind of energy. It's finding these beautiful connections with people in our lives, and it doesn't have to be a partner. That's why me and Nikki put ourselves as the cards. We were like, who should we do? Should we do us and our husbands, or us and, you know, is it like a couple? But it's like, no, the expression of love through friendship and collaboration and being seen by another person felt really deeply important as we were creating these cards. So as you move into June, think about, who are the people who see you? Who are the people who support you? Who are the people who you are like riding the bus of life with? Because this is a bus, isn't it, Nikki, that you kind of had a photo of from a long while ago. You know, who are you on board with? You know, we're not always in a Ferrari or a fast plane or car or whatever. We're on the bus of life, and it can, there's lots of, you know, redirections and stops, and you never get anywhere as quick as you want. But who are you riding that bus with? So it's a really important month to perhaps really think about friendship and the people who love you and support you. So nice little card, bringing us back to you know, wherever we may have kind of journeyed so far in the year, that's bringing us back to that heartfelt center. Nikki's got Page of Cups again, expression and exploration of kind of connection and spirituality. Oh, we've got King of Cups with Hazel. So again, we're back like mid-year, back into this kind of emotional place, which is quite nice. So it may be that we veer off a little, because of course we will. We're going to spend the whole year sort of focusing on our relationships, but it will perhaps keep coming back round in different ways and expressions. Okay, so June, July. It's oh, right, wait there 2 seconds. Just realized I was burning the dinner, right? Okay, we have the Eight of Pentacles, which we had in May, but with the other deck, with Cosmic Mother. So now we have it through Rebel Heart Tarot, which is, again, I love this, honestly probably one of my favorite cards in terms of meaning, because it's what I'm always striving for, is that beautiful balance in my work life that feels like I'm like kind of enamored and in love with my work. So it's that escaping from the rat race, escaping from things that feel less than ourselves, so that we can be kind of married to our work in some way, to the things that we do, whether that's a creative expression or, you know, even through our hobbies or the way we experience ourselves within the world. You know, how do we experience ourselves in the world this month? How do we make that feel abundant and playful and fun and not like work? So the Eight of Pentacles is finding abundance and money and satisfaction and work satisfaction through something that feels really soulfully led. So we explored that two months previously, and then we're exploring it again. So it feels like some of the cards this year, is the collective cards, are like, how are we going to be in community with other people, and how are we going to also be finding our path in life and exploring that in ways that are going to empower us and make us feel like we're living our best life, or our easiest life, or our most kind of abundant life, not necessarily going to all become millionaires and billionaires, but really satisfied with our lot, you know, just shifting. And I think that, you know, the last few years will have done that to many of us. Kind of, we don't want to spend our time doing things that don't feel good anymore. And it may be that this year really sees us paring down what that means to us in terms of our relationships and the things that we spend our day doing all day long. So quite powerful. So moving to August. Oh, we have the Empress. So I love the Empress. She's our feminine creativity coming to the forefront in all kinds of different ways. It will be, like I said before, it's going to be completely unique to each and every one of you. Something will be being born in August, which 9 months from now, who knows? But you know, 9 months is a good time to burst forth some creative prowess and see where it leads us. So it could be that whatever seeds you planted today in the meditation, some of them might start to be coming forward by kind of August time, which is perfect because it's summer and it's the middle of summer and the sun is high in the sky and hopefully it's warm and gorgeous, and Nikki has the sun, of course she does. You know, it's a really gorgeous, fertile month for becoming something new, rebirthing ourselves, rebranding ourselves, growing into something else. What's that, Hazel? I couldn't quite see that, but it looked like a very nice, powerful lady. Queen of Pentacles. See, Queen of Pentacles is this kind of energy too. It's that sovereignty of abundance and what that allows for. So when you are abundant, yes, it's nice maybe to have money in the bank or to feel safe, but what else does that allow for in all the other arenas of life? How does that allow for you to be a more connected person, a more spiritual person, a more creative person? And I think that's what the Empress is there to explore. It's not just about kind of the idea of motherhood and looking after other people. It's like, how are you going to look after you? How are you going to look after your creative expression? And how are you going to birth that into something meaningful this month? And again, have a look at your personal card. And so I'm just having a quick look. So like Ace of Pentacles for Julia, it's like a new beginning is coming out of this fertile period. Or the Five of Pentacles for Samantha is, I'm just trying to think how that would fit, is recognizing that you have your own path to walk and then becoming quite creative with it. 10 of Wands, exhaustion and overwhelm, but at the same time, how can that give way to, actually, I'm not playing that exhausted, overwhelmed game anymore. I'm going to actually make space and power for me and my desires and priorities. So again, it's quite interesting how some of the cards, they might seem contradictory, but we do hold contradictions, don't we? All the time, you know? So what I would do is, if you find your cards are contradictory, like death, Poppy's got death. So something's got to die for you to then give birth to this new Empress vibe. It's just finding the story within that, and kind of working with it. So like, for example, Poppy's death is quite dramatic sounding, but on the other side, it's the Empress. It's a whole, like, it's the story of life right there, you know, kind of birth to death, death to birth, and round again. So really powerful month for you, Poppy, I think. Okay. But yeah, August feels immense, but also gorgeous, because the Empress is, she's a good vibe. She's a loving maternal vibe. So we should allow ourselves to be loving and maternal to ourselves too. Okay, so moving into September, the other thing I would just say is just do note when your birthday month is, because it's just interesting to see, you know, kind of, because that's your solar return, that's your year beginning again. So today we're on a whole year beginning, but like, so for example, my birthday is September, so this is my card for whatever my theme is for my personal year. So whichever your month is for your birthday, then you could think that's again another theme for that next year in terms of your birthday. Okay, so September. Ooh, King of Pentacles. That's nice and powerful. It's recognizing the kind of, recognizing your own success and the realization of your ambition, feeling very, very abundant within your working world and your manifest reality, feeling like plans that you have put into place have paid off, or are beginning to pay off, and that you are perhaps in this place of real growth in your working and material worlds. So if you look at this little card, there's on one hand, he's got a stack of coins, and on the other hand, he's got a sapling or a seedling that is being born into the world. So I think September could be a month of real, I guess, feelings of success and feeling like what you've been trying to accomplish is finally, you know, it's getting there, if not already there. Put yourself on the throne, you know, stop beating yourself up that you're not far enough ahead, and actually see how far you have come. Perhaps take stock of how far you've come in September as well. And then we have Temperance. So that Temperance is always very regal to me, but she has that calm, that passive kind of, I'm going to step back and see, let events play out. 10 of Cups, just joyfulness and happy family community times. High Priestess, very powerful, feminine, divine kind of energy of recognizing yourself. September, the Emperor and the King of Wands sit really powerfully together because you're going to be making waves that month. Nikki's apologizing to Poppy because you've been stalking her. Oh, bless you. Oh, that's sweet. Anyway, I feel like September's power month for many of us in some interesting ways. I mean, I guess some of you will know a fair bit about tarot and some of you won't. So don't beat yourself up how much you feel you know or don't know. But obviously we have quite a few minor arcanas, but also, I mean, the minor arcanas are kind of the grit and the detail of life. They're like the getting things done and stuff moving on. And we've also had quite a few major arcanas. So things like the Empress and the World. Oh no, we've only had the Empress and the World. So actually it's quite a busy year so far with a couple of major interjections. But then things like the King of Pentacles in September, which is still a minor, but he's a king, you know? So it's interesting, but it feels like a busy year because the months are not really gelling. There's like energy, different kinds of energy each month as well. So I feel like there's all kinds of things going to be cracking off for us next year, which is the way forward sometimes. It's from one thing to the next, isn't it? Particularly as we are dealing with a relationship-y kind of year, that kind of makes sense because we have so many different relationships with so many different people. So yeah, hopefully we'll be back here next year doing 2024 and we can do a compare and contrast. Random, what do the Fool and the Hierophant represent? So in a nutshell, the Fool for me is about stepping out into, it's the beginning of everything. It's like, it's that youthfulness of, I'm going to step out into the world and do my thing. And I'm not really thinking about the consequences, which can be a good thing. And it can also, it's a very freeing thing. And the Fool, without the Fool, nothing gets done. The Hierophant is when we've moved on a bit, we're a bit wiser, and maybe we need to get some guidance from other people before perhaps stepping out into the crazy. So that's them in a nutshell. Okay, so we're on to October. Oh, death. So I'm glad we got the death card because it's one of the cards that scares people. And I like the cards that scares people because then I get to undo that a little bit. So the death card for me is it's the point of life. Things end, things change. And if they didn't, I think life would be terribly boring and staid and we never get anywhere. So whenever the death card comes out, yes, it speaks to massive change, things dropping away. Sometimes the things that drop away are our personal understandings of how we've lived so far. And that's exactly what we need to drop away so that we can be reborn and become wiser, greater, more empowered, ready for the next adventure. So for me, death sits very closely in alignment with rebirth. And there isn't really a rebirth card. There is no rebirth card. For me, this is the rebirth card. But for us to be able to rebirth, we must let go of so much. And that can be sad, and there can be grief and loss within that. Of course, there can. And we might want to cling on hard to certain aspects of the things that we are leaving behind. But at the same time, there is a promise, I think, with the death card that what is on the other side is better or more interesting or more creative or more cosmic, you know? So there we go. A very powerful, I feel like as we're ending the year, we're really coming into some big understandings, because that's what death will do for you, is it will bring you into big understandings and personal awareness that you may not have had before you had to sit with it. So that's October. Sorry, I think I've lost track of where the Zoom is up to. The chat, I mean. Oh, we've got two King of Wands. King of Wands is very much creative empowerment and embodiment, which alongside death, would perhaps suggest that you're doing away with anything that is not sovereign creativity. Oh no, we've got another Knight of Wands, quite a few oh no, a Knight of Wands is different. Knight of Wands is this kind of passionate, creative energy. Some of these cards I can't bring to mind without seeing them in front of me. But yeah, it feels like a powerful kind of card. Nikki's got the Magician alongside death. That's tricky. That's like things are dying, but you're gonna style it out. And kind of sneak around it a little bit and become something quite magical as a result. Okay, so November. Look. Nikki will like this. It's the Sun. So, having had death in October and the heaviness of that and the grit of that, we then move into November with, this is the rebirth. This is the other side of death. It's enlightenment and it's illumination. So like the scales have dropped from our eyes and we're seeing things in a whole new way, which can be massively overwhelming because it means we have to change and we have to transform and we have to grow. And we can't do things the way we used to do them because it's all changed. We've changed. We've changed and we can no longer sit in our old crap in the way that we maybe used to. So yeah, wowzers, the Sun is really a card of kind of culmination. Like I see now in a way that I couldn't see before because I had all this other stuff cluttering me up. And there's also huge potential there with the Sun. So it's like anything you turn your mind to can grow and can become something. And just have a little look which ones everyone got. So we got some Pentacles there, 9 Pentacles, 10 Pentacles, financial growth, and perhaps as a result of this kind of Sun, Ace of Pentacles, brand new ideas stepping forward from this place of death and an illumination, the Chariot, overcoming stuff that's been, you know, perhaps comes from the death card previous. Nikki's got the Hierophant, going to wise elders for guidance or becoming a wise elder as a result of the deaths that you've sat through. 10 of Swords sits really well with death. It's kind of that same energy of still things dropping away. So for Samantha, that might be, you know, continual stuff dropping away, but then this illumination of the Sun that is like, because that stuff has dropped away, you can actually see better. 10 of Pentacles, Kizzy continues to be killing it business-wise. Page of Swords, kind of on a mission, moving forward. King of Swords, strong boundaries, perhaps as a result of the death and the new illumination. Magician, again, like Nikki, kind of using these deaths and these changes to transform your life. There's a lot of transformative energy actually coming through the main, like the community cards and individual cards. Temperance alongside the Sun and alongside the previous month of death is like, okay, just wait. It's just really interesting how everyone's individual cards kind of combine with these cards and then the months before. And that's something as you go through the year and you're kind of comparing and contrasting, do be sure to kind of look at what your month before was as well, and then maybe look at the month forward. So say you're in August and you're like, okay, so I'm in this place and this is my card for this month. Well, what did I just live through and what's coming in September? And again, that's another way to continue the storyboard. So there's loads of ways to kind of look at it and to keep getting that wisdom and that guidance. And then as well, pull cards at the time. So it might be that every month. So we're just in November, we've got the Sun, you've got your own personal card, you know what came before and you know what's coming next. But then take, like on the 1st of November, take 3 more cards, and you could call them whatever, past, present, future, or what 3 things do I need to know this month, or what is my guidance this month, and just take 3 cards, write them down and just sit with them all month. And just kind of keep that reflection. And that's how this becomes like a living creature almost, that you're kind of engaging with through your diary and through your calendar. And like Nikki said there, I'm hoping for a year of exciting action, creativity, and growth. Maybe everybody should tell me, or should just say, just affirm in the chat what they're hoping for this year, and then make the cards kind of work in your favor. So I don't know, whatever it is that you're aiming towards, your ambitions and your hopes, how can you use the cards that you've pulled to play into that and to inform that and to kind of see the bumps in the road, but also project forward in a way that's really empowering. Does that make sense? So please do share in the chat, and I won't be able to read them all out, but just read each other's. It's really, I think, a good space to kind of explore the things that we're hoping for, put it out into the universe. Oh, these are nice to read. Right, so I'm going to do December while you guys pop those in there. Right, giving these a shuffle. So December, how are we going to end our year? Let's find out. Oh, the sun again. So we had the sun for November and we had the sun for December. So if like those last 3 months of the year feel huge. So we've got death, the sun. Like, wow, just maybe all of these things that you're asking for in the comments, all of these things that you're projecting out that you want for your life, come October, November, December, yes, you're going to have to work to get there. Yes, there's going to be pitfalls and traumas and tragedies and difficulties along the way. And it's all going to be filtered through our connections and our relationships. But come the end of the year, there's like this clarity, this real clarity. There's a dropping away in October, which is perfect. It's autumn, so the leaves are dropping, things are changing. And then November and December, we have this bright illumination of possibility and potential, and just what feels a bit like magic, actually. Just like full-bodied truth of who we are those last 2 months. And I feel like we'll have worked for it. Nikki has the world. So again, another kind of, the world is our oyster. We're on that pedestal. We're allowing ourselves this growth. And it is about allowing ourselves the growth, not getting in our own way. And maybe that's why we need 2 whole months of it. Because perhaps, we get the sun in November, we'll be like, oh yeah, this is good, but how long is it going to last? But then having it 2 months in a row, it's like, oh, okay, actually, I'm in a place of power. I am in a place of strength and self-knowing and self-awareness. And what am I going to do with that? And beginning to weave some magic with it. Excuse my dogs being a little bit of a nuisance again. Let me see what everyone got for December. Oh, okay. So right, we got 3 of Swords for Hazel. So the thing is with the 3 of Swords, it is dramatic. You got those 3 swords rammed through a heart. But for me, it's, you already know about those heartaches. They're generally not new heartaches. They can be, but they tend to trigger past heartaches. So maybe heartaches are being illuminated for you to kind of understand yourself better. We have the Devil for Caroline. Well, you have the devil under the sun. So your devilish inner demons are being highlighted, being illuminated for you to work on and do things differently with. Kizzy's got the 9 of Pentacles. So it's she's going to make her millions. Kizzy, time is coming, the end of next year. The Knight of Cups, this mission towards almost romantic and emotional understandings that you're allowing yourself under this bright light of the sun. The 4 of Swords for Julia is the need to rest, and that being illuminated and being very, very clear, and perhaps really allowing yourself to rest in a way you haven't before. The 6 of Cups, sweet friendship, togetherness, which brings us back to the whole theme of the year, that kind of innocence and niceness and being with people who are respectful and loving. For Ren, we've got the Moon and the Hermit came out together. Oh, they're interesting with That's almost like you're being illuminated to go into the depths. It's like it's going to perhaps be very clear to you at that time that you need to go deeper into yourself, into your feminine divine, into your aloneness in a really powerful way. It's a very spiritual path, actually. So wherever you're at on your spiritual path right now, come next December, like triple it. You'll be running this next year. Got 3 of Cups, so that's, I'm trying to think which that card is now off the top of my head. Sometimes I go blank when they're not in front of me. 3 of Cups. Anyone got it? Kathy, can you show it to me? I'm trying to think. 3 hard to sometimes remember them all when they're not in front of me. I'll come back to that one. 6 of Swords is see, now I'm thinking about 3 of Cups, so I can't think what the 6 of Swords is. The 6 of Swords is the kind of floating forward and trusting the divine movement, even though it might feel quite slow. But perhaps new understandings in relation to that. 3 of Cups, of course I know what the 3 of Cups is. It's me and my kids. The 3 of Cups, Kathy, is you needing to be in connection with your females, your women, your people who you love and who you adore. The 2 of Pentacles is the uncertainty of the path forward, but allowing yourself to play with possibilities, Poppy, and just recognizing that there may be some juggling, but that can be quite empowering. Can I say something about reversed cards? Yes, I don't read them reversed. That's what I can say. But that's just because that's my personal choice. What I would say about that is you can if you want. So it's almost like invert the meaning. But I always think there's enough cards with enough messages. And when we're doing something simplistic like that, we don't need to be inverting the message. So if you pull cards out upside down and you're happy to, just put them up the right way. But if you did want to read them reversed, feel free. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what I choose to not do. Okay. All right then, ladies. I feel like we have really kind of summed up the year, and this is going to be a working document for you for the entire next 12 months, starting tomorrow, starting in about 6 hours. This kicks in. I hope I've given you some guidance as to how you can continue to use this throughout the year. You can be very simplistic with it and kind of just look at your cards for each month and, Google them or have a look in the guidebook or whatever it is and just sit with that. Or you can choose to look at it as a storyboard and keep revisiting it and pulling more cards. I think it's fascinating. And I think it'd be really interesting to see how it progresses for you all. Oh, Poppy said, Mum and sister had a bad situation with reverse cards to the point where my mum only just turned out her cards read again from me last night after avoiding them for a long time. I would say they had a bad situation with a card reader, not with reverse cards. I think that's more about the person reading the cards was probably insensitive, and unless it was you. Sorry. Or perhaps, I think if we're trying to invert cards, then we twist the meaning up and it can become complicated and it can be difficult, especially if it was your sister was reading for her. Well, then that's like family dynamics getting in the way and all kinds of things and people's opinions. And I shall say no more. What I shall say is you don't have to read them reversed, and be careful who you get your cards read by. And also, whenever you're reading for anybody else, just do so from a place of objectivity and love. And if you're not sure, then use a book. But yeah, I don't use reverse cards. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Just gonna put in the little group again. Sorry to be doing soft selling, but the Cosmic Sisterhood opens tomorrow. the Cosmic Sisterhood has been around a while, since like lockdown, but I have kind of changed it up. We have a new space for it on Patreon. It's a lot cheaper. It's gonna be £12.50 a month plus VAT, which I think is about £2 or £2.50. And everybody's welcome. There'll be loads and loads of tarot cards. We can continue to do this kind of work. And I hope to see some of you there. And if not, I'll see you around on Instagram or in real life or wherever we happen to meet. But good luck with your whole years. Enjoy the New Year's buffet, Poppy, and enjoy. Have a beautiful, beautiful year. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'll send you all the video. Bye.